So me and my friends were in the lobby having your atypical high school discussion when out of nowhere we hear someone scream, Benson! And my friend, who also just so happens to be named Benson, begins cowering in fear and despair as this ginger girl begins marching towards us, and she would come to change our life forever. Now, I'm not one typically for drama, but this complex entanglement of lies, betrayal, and relationships came to define my very existence. Now, this era I am referring to took up most of my sophomore year, and it all revolved around that ginger girl that came up that fateful day. Now, I'm going to make sure to change the names of everyone for privacy's sake, except for Benson, because that was funny to scream out loud. Now, let's begin. Despite how dreadful I made sophomore year sound, it was actually pretty great overall. Um, Now, after Jessica's outburst, Tommy, who I shall name my best friend, he began to form feelings for the ginger girl who I shall dub Jessica. Now, this resulted in a grand romantic proposition that only ended in gaslighting and gatekeeping with a hint of betrayal once Tommy learned that after he was rejected, a day after, she began to form a relationship with Benson. Now, out of this betrayal, oddly enough, a strong bond began to form between me, Tommy, and Jessica. And this became the greatest point of my existence as I formed various new friendships and a new relationship and was up to some crazy antics every day. What could go wrong? Well, then the Holly Hill Mall incident happened. So, me, Tommy, Benson, and Jessica, we decided, hey, we're going to go to the Holly Hill Mall to see this play, and it'll be a lot of fun, right? So, we were hanging out at this rodeo shop in the Holly Hill Mall when Jessica and Benson get the bright idea to go check to see if the play we were planning on going to, well, is playing. So we were waiting, me and Tommy are waiting there for like 30 minutes, and we hear nothing. So Tommy sends me on the mission to check on them. And what I find, I still have nightmares about. I see Jessica and Benson making out in a photo booth. And from that point forward, I knew me and Tommy had been third wheeled, and it sucked. So, despite how I said it would change everything, it ultimately didn't really change anything. um, we still formed that relationship and friendship we had before, even though it was a bit tense, and we celebrated a lot of our school's national holidays, such as Mole Day and Meme Day. Now, the status quo would be ultimately demolished when Benson had the audacity to break up with Jessica. Now, his reasoning was simple enough. He simply could not maintain a relationship, and it was stressing him out and causing a very great personal burden upon him. And, that's all well and good. Unfortunately, that could not quell the storm that was brewing because Jessica, needless to say, did not take it as well. What resulted was an endless cycle of depressive episodes where she would avoid Benson entirely, then dramatically confront him full of anger, full of sadness, and then run away crying and be crying and crying and crying for the rest of the day, much to the annoyance of her teachers and her peers, and this continued on for months. Luckily, this was all ended by the pandemic, where all of our social interactions were forced online, and this led to the development of an infamous group chat full of school legends and, well, us. And it was pretty good for the most part at first. We shared some memes, shared some anecdotes, and I managed to expand my personal scope of friendships past what it was beforehand, even despite the pandemic. The only issue was it would get toxic. So Jessica and her friends began sending Thomas on these various hopeless romantic escapades that always ended in failure and betrayal, which was certainly not good for his health. And on top of that, any meme you would send, it would be judged by the moral righteousness of the group chat. And it became very authoritarian. And if your meme was not up to par and it said something semi-offensive or could be perceived as offensive, then you would be canceled and experience the greatest social shunning ever. Now, needless to say, this group chat was disbanded, and Well, that ended the era with Jessica and ceremoniously in the summer of 2020. Now, her name would pop up every now and again in my senior year, from her crazy antics at the community college or her screaming obscenities at my best friend randomly. But that era is over, and I'm kind of glad it has that definitive conclusion because it was an exciting time full of lies and betrayal and various tea being spilt, but I'm glad it's over. Now, looking back on it as a senior, I can truly say it was both the best and the worst of times, and I wouldn't have it any other way.